Frontier Developments have made a course correction. They've issued a statement about the new Dodec Station that's coming in Elite Dangerous. Their announcement on the 4th of November announcing the Dodec Station, the Caspian Explorer, operations, tweaking to the environment, a rebalance as it were, had an awful lot of the community talking. The Dodec Station seemed to be another example of a studio reacting to feedback off the forums, something that Frontier's been really good at late. They've been listening to the community, the players, the commanders. But beneath the surface, this announcement reveals, I think, something a little bit more larger. And this is just my two penneth worth, so to speak. This company is grappling with the eternal live service paradox. And it is a paradox. How does a studio, like Frontier Development, maintain revenue streams and funds ongoing? That's the question. How do you fund ongoing development without alienating its most loyal customer and player base? The short version of Frontier's update was simple enough. The studio admitted it misjudged the community mood. The new Dodec stations, initially slated to be a permanent game store exclusive, will now be available not only through the ARX Early Access for a timed period, much like the ships have been, like the Caspian will be, the Panther was, and all the other hosts of ships that have come before, but it'll eventually become constructible through normal in-game mechanics. And that was a relief to a lot of people. This is a clear pivot from the initial announcement, a decision that tries to repair the trust while still ensuring Frontier gets a short-term revenue bump. And that's what it's all about. Frontier is a company at the end of the day, and companies exist to make money by providing a service. And if that service does not hit the customer mood, then I think they've made, to be fair, the right decision. But to understand why this change really matters to us, really, and what it reveals about Elite Dangerous in 2025 and going on 2026, I think we got to look at the economics of live service design and the emotional economy of its community. And that's a good term, the emotional economy of its community. In their statement, Frontier states that they don't think they got it right with the initial announcement. And I'm sure you've all read this, so I'm not going to go through it at length. And even though their intention at all times is to make the game better for everyone, they kind of misjudged the mood. Anyway, therefore, they've taken this feedback on board, and like I say, it will be released not only initially via ARX, but then available and constructible in-game. And that's basically the message. But for me, the tone of Frontier's message is quite refreshingly direct. No guff, the studio conceded that its decision to lock a new station type permanently behind the game store didn't get it right. I mean, it's quite a rare admission for any company, really. An admission perhaps of misalignment between intent and then execution. Frontier clearly aimed to frame the Dodec sale as an optional expansion of variety, really, within the game, something that really wouldn't affect core gameplay. Yet the reaction from a lot of the community was swift and harsh, because Elite Dangerous players are very anti-play to win. Now, whether you think this is play to win or not is up to you, right? I don't know. This reaction was swift, harsh, because Elite Dangerous players have long memories and strong sense of what the game's economy really represents, and they want everyone to be on an even keel. A lot of people still say that, early access to the ships is play to win, and there's an argument about that. In Elite Dangerous, the word constructible is quite a loaded word. And when I say loaded, this is what I mean. Building stations, ships, mega ships, though through in-game materials, isn't just gameplay. It's kind of part of the ethos of the simulation, in my opinion. And that kind of defines the Elite Dangerous galaxy. When Frontier announced the Dodec as an in-store only item, it broke, I think, that social contract between FDev and the players. Players don't just fly ships in Elite, they believe in earning them, achieving them. I remember when the game first came out, and that pinnacle of achievement was the Anaconda, and how long it took to get that. The reverse, really, acknowledges that friction. Frontier's ARX Early Access solution represents a hybrid model, short-term monetization for players who want to experience that content early. And I'm okay with that. I'm on board with it. And eventually, it becomes available to everyone. There are some people who'll support the game and want to have that shipped straight away. There are others who will say, well, I'll just buy it for credits in-game. I mean, on paper, that kind of sounds fair, but in practice, it also highlights the tension that every live service developer will face. Sustainable revenue and sustainable trust. If you've got no sustainable players, you've got no sustainable revenue, no matter what you put in your store. Now, Frontier needs ARX revenue. One has got to really remember that Elite Dangerous is now over a decade old, and since its Kickstarter in 2012, it's evolved from a niche simulator into a sprawling, interconnected galaxy with on-foot, new updates to old systems, and the like. There's no mandatory battle pass like you get on some games. The base game still retails for a discounted modest price, and most expansions have been optional. You haven't got to play Odyssey, for example. Those people on consoles are still able to play Horizons, even though, that is a bone of contention. For Frontier, the ARX store, I think, which sells paint jobs, ship kits, ships, weapon colours, cosmetics, has primarily offered that reoccurring revenue stream since 2019. So that's okay, we're in November 2025, now 6 years, right? But the economics, really, of cosmetics alone are quite fragile, like we've said. While they generate steady income, cosmetic sales plateau over time as the player base ages and veterans exhaust really what they're willing to buy, or they've already bought it. A new ship cosmetic generates a spike, then drops down to a baseline. Without something new, some reason for players to keep engaging economically, the game's financial engine tends to run at idle and not surge, like say with the release of a Panther Clipper. So it's a challenge that Frontier basically faces, as every long-running online title does. How do you monetize meaningfully without introducing pay-to-win mechanics or betraying the immersion and therefore the community? Now, the Dodec experiment, shall we call it, was an attempt at diversification. It collided head-on, I think, with the player community and their perception of fairness. Anyway, either way, it's been changed, and that's not bad. I wouldn't say the outrage was completely justified by a lot of people in the community. I mean, you either bought it or you didn't. Either way, the ARX store does generate short-term revenue and keeps the game going. For long-term inclusivity, avoiding the optics of exclusivity pay-to-win, that's a fine balance. And to be predictable, these engagement spikes, synchronizing ARX sales with the market beats, is a must, I think, for Frontier. If you look at other games like Warframe, Destiny, No Man's Sky, have all experimented with similar hybrid access models, some through Founders Packs, other through cosmetic head starts, or just banging the updates out there for free because they've got a wider player base, probably because they're still on console. Anyway, if we want to continue to play this game and enjoy this game for another 10 years, or at least 5, let's face it, then we really should be thinking of supporting the game. Should we be supporting it to the tune of a Dodec Station? Well, that's the real question, and only people can really answer that. And it's a very fine line for Frontier to walk. Anyway, I've been Ricardo, and these have been my thoughts on the Dodec announcement. Let me know what you think. I really would like to know. And thanks for bearing with me for this video. I'll see you soon.